China-Taiwan war games have begun. Beijing has launched military exercises around Taiwan for a span of 3 days. And this move has come after just a few days after the meeting in California between the Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen and the American House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Now, Taiwan's defense ministry has said that at least about 8 Chinese warships and 40 Chinese fighter jets were detected around the island on Saturday morning. The Chinese Army's Eastern Theater Command has said that military exercises called the United Sharp Sword are for combat readiness. The military statement has further said that these exercises will involve police patrolling drills in the Taiwan Strait to the north and also to the south of Taiwan, and in the sea and the airspace of the east of Taiwan. The Maritime Authority has said that China will even conduct live fire drills off the Fujian coast on Monday, which of course would be the last day of these military drills. Now, these drills, according to the Chinese army, are a stern warning against Taiwan's separatist tendencies. The Taiwan's defense ministry has hit out saying that China's moves threaten regional stability and security. Now, remember, the Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen has pledged to work with the United States and other like-minded nations in the face of what she has described as continued authoritarian expansion. Last year, the Chinese military's Eastern Theater Command had sent in more than 1,700 aircraft into Taiwan's air defense identification zone. That, as per Taiwan, is more than double the number from a year earlier. Now, Taiwan has said that China has continued to use grey zone tactics to test Taiwan's response. The grey zone tactics include sending of drones, balloons and even fishing boats repeatedly into areas that are close to Taiwan, and it's also an attempt by the Chinese to test Taiwan's air defense preparedness. The latest announcement by People's Liberation Army has come after China has vowed a resolute response to the meeting between the US House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and the Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen. Now, China has dubbed the meeting as an erroneous act of collusion between the United States and Taiwan. Now, China's Foreign Ministry has further said that the meeting gravely violates the One China principle. Taiwan's Defense Ministry has further said that China has used President Tsai's visit and transits in the United States as an excuse to conduct military exercises. Now, Beijing also claims that Taiwan is a part of its territory to be seized one day, even if by force if it is needed. However, many Taiwanese people in fact consider their self-ruled island to be distinct whether or not independence is announced officially. Recently, Xi Jinping said that China must in fact modernize its military to make it into a Great Wall of Steel. Xi Jinping has also said that China must oppose pro-independence and secessionist activities and the interference of external forces. The Beijing plans to control the strategic choke points and also to deny access to foreign forces. And we earlier spoke with Ross Darrell Feingold, the political analyst, who joined us live from Taiwan, and this is what he had to say.
That's kind of in the hands of the Chinese side. So, of course, they're going to say that no matter the size or which parts of their military are involved. In this case, they've publicly said it's air, sea, and information warfare capabilities. But of course, they're going to say it's a success. Another way to look at your question is, how do we here in Taiwan, whether that's the public in general, the government, politicians, military, even the corporate world, how does Taiwan and its key security partner, the United States, respond to this? And again, looking at it just from the perspective of being here on the ground in Taiwan, I can tell you very similar to when Nancy Pelosi visited last August and China engaged in very large-scale military exercises. There's a little bit of attention to this, but generally speaking, it's business as normal. And people aren't really stopping what they're doing here today to look at the TV news and see what the latest is from Chinese military exercises. So from the perspective of planning or worrying about Taiwan's security, there's definitely more that the people and the government here in Taiwan can do. And absolutely within the coming hours or days, China's going to issue more statements saying that the current exercises were a success, and it demonstrates their capabilities to use force against Taiwan in the future should they decide to do so. And on that last part, whether it's Taiwan or Japan or the United States, they need to take that very, very seriously.
And we also spoke with Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, who is a senior fellow and a military expert for defense priorities, and this is what he had to say on these developments.
Well, that's what this whole trip to the United States and to South America that President Tsai Ing-wen just finished on was supposed to do, because they had just lost, I believe it was Honduras, who changed their recognition to China. And Tsai Ing-wen was trying to shore up the remaining. I believe there's 9 countries in the world that still recognize Taiwan. And this meeting with Kevin McCarthy was very important politically for Tsai Ing-wen. But the problem is it carries a very negative implication and result from the Chinese side. And this military exercise you're talking about here, it does seem to be ratcheted up even a little bit more than perhaps the one after Pelosi, Senior Speaker Pelosi from last August, because this one says that they're going to be all the way around. This is they're going to basically simulate a blockade on all 4 sides of Taiwan. And at some point, apparently, they're going to prevent any Taiwanese ships from going out or any foreign ships from coming in. And it remains to be seen how aggressively they want to try to push that. But that is a potential flashpoint that I think everybody needs to pay a lot of attention to. Well, it's certainly ratcheting up because really it gets down to, China's been making these threats that, they would use force to reunify, literally for decades. And so some people view that as it's just more rhetoric and you don't have to worry about it. But I think when viewed in context and you see how, especially Xi Jinping, after he became, he got his 3rd term, after he's, really put his imprimatur on his foreign policy, saying that he will reunify Taiwan, and then these, increasing military actions in the air, on the sea, and under the sea around the Taiwan Straits is not something we can just casually dismiss. It is very serious, I believe.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.